So years ago, when I was a student at art school, I spent my senior year abroad in Italy. I was staying for just a few weeks with a family in the small medieval town of Assisi. So one afternoon, one mild September afternoon, I think it was a Friday, I was sitting on this old wall beside a castle up at the top of a hill. And I was sitting and I was sketching. And then out of nowhere, in an instant, the wall beneath me undulated like wobbling jello. I hopped off as rocks fell all around me, and down below I heard the collective screams of children. This was my first experience with an earthquake. The firmness of the ground beneath my feet that I had never any reason to doubt broke that trust. Rocks offer us hard truths, whether we like it or not. Sometimes the most basic things in life that we depend on to support us have to fall apart for us to get our bearings and find our balance again. Napoleon Bonaparte once asked, "What is history but a fable agreed upon?" A century later, Winston Churchill said, "History is written by the victors." Every society understands itself based on the story we are told. Each new generation is taught their culture's history and things add up to the collective understanding of how we got to now. We can smile and feel comfortable in the fact that the vast legacy of ours has been assembled piece by piece to support our productive lives in the countries and communities we call home. Since for the most part, we're happy, we must be in the camp of the victorious, right? Why would we think otherwise? It makes sense that most of the time we just need to ignore the strange and inexplicable buildings and structures and objects that are a complete mystery to archaeologists because we got stuff to do. We got to do our work. We got to get groceries, right? But that doesn't mean it's not all important. So, for example, how is it that there are structures cut into mountains with laser precision lines? Why are there star forts all around the world with no record of who made them or why? Why are ancient cities laid out like circuit boards and towers everywhere that are just like antennas? How is it that there are walls made out of impossibly heavy stones in irregular geometric shapes stacked and interlocked without a paper-thin space between them that are a complete and utter mystery to modern masons? There are salvage devices, pulled from ancient Greek ships that are as complicated as computers. There are helicopters and ships carved into hieroglyphics. There are buildings in our cities that we see every day that were not built in the 1800s. They were found in the 1800s. So what's going on, okay? The next section of the red pill list is concerned with making a distinction between the narrative we've been told and all of the pronounced discrepancies. The current historical timeline is linear and tidy, but when we examine it closely, flaws become apparent. Adding up all the evidence makes clear that the victors have edited our history to tell us what they want us to believe. This stuff can be hard to take in and accept because it requires unlearning first. And that's a lot harder than, going to another country and learning to drive on the other side of the road. My journey has been one of challenging my assumptions, being uncomfortable for a little while, and then finding my footing again. I can tell you that once you get used to it, spending time with this information is exciting. It's fun. I love the work the community is doing. It's a beautiful example of speaking truth to power. Ultimately, this is about understanding who we are. So I encourage you, take the step forward and let the evidence speak for itself. As my friend Matthew Smith of the Marvelous Old World podcast says, stones don't lie. Let's spend time with the stones. Let's listen to what they have to say. Once we get all the facts, we will be able to rewrite history. We will know ourselves, and we will finally be able to tell our true story.